It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
And welcome, everybody. This is working. There we go. Got our little puppy co-host here. He's all happy today. He's got a little Elvis friend today. We have a little solar Elvis going on over here. As soon as you get some sun on him, he dances. He quickly stops dancing as soon as he doesn't have sun on him anymore. So we have a new addition to the studio for the baby co-host to look at. All right. So thanks to DJ for joining us early. Just got done going live a few minutes ago. Oh, good. I missed being corked by Night Strike. All right. So on Tuesdays, we go live to chat about Second Amendment content creation, to do a workshop for content creators. And one of those things, to even be a content creator, you have to be able to afford the time and potentially a puppy co-host. And the travel, if that's a part of it, or pretty much the time and travel. There's not much else to be, content to be to a content creator. But we what we like to do is ask the robots their opinion on this matters. So we did that, and then we took that information, we put it in Substack, and we're going to open up that Substack information over here. And we'll do that right behind the puppy over here and open that up for everybody. It's been a little while since we've done a show on making money. And it's one of those things, again, that you really can't do much if you can't afford to do anything. So in order to address that core piece of capitalism, we'll dig into that today. Puppy is completely distracted, so we're probably gonna put him down since when it's hot like this, he's more worried about laying on the ground. Oops, that did not work. Let's get rid of him. Yeah, we're getting rid of you. You're getting. Oh well. Oh no, he's itching fleas. They're definitely getting rid of you. Flea-ridden dog. There, now he's getting put down. Now you're getting put down, buddy. Oh, no. There he goes. And he's down. All right, so get rid of him. How do we get rid of him? There. All right, so then we can make this a lot bigger, make it easier to read, and I get this microphone out of my face. Oh, I'm doing this to the wrong screen. Hold on. I'll do it to this screen. In order to get the puppy co-host in this monitor, I have to oftentimes have this microphone right in front of my eyeball. All right. Night Strike's giving everybody the Capitol switchboard number. It's a good number to have posted often. There are representatives after all. So let's figure out how to make everybody some money. So this is 2024. Of course, things change all the time. And for me, I've been doing things to make money online since 1997, I think, would be the official start of it all. And there's always been multiple strategies. There's always been multiple opportunities. And I've partaken in, the ones that appeal to me. What we're going to do today, though, is attempt to talk about a bunch of them And this is interactive, so we do have a bunch of people joining us today. And feel free to participate in what we're talking about here. But the ways that people make money online are hardly full-time, I'd say. You can definitely do things. Side hustle is the cool term nowadays, but part-time, second job or part-time job type of things. And there's lots of options out there. So it kind of depends on what you feel like doing and how much time you've got and, what you're really trying to get out of it. Now, moving to an online, what's that called? An online income, I think would be a different conversation. We're not going to talk about how to move completely to an online income. That would be more of just a general economic show. So we're going to talk more about like side jobs or part-time things. So not necessarily designed to pay all your bills, but designed to make it possible for you to maybe, again, travel or participate in some of the things that people do. Things on that we build online can sometimes cost money, and it can add up. $30 a month here, $10 a month here, $15 a month here. So many of these subscription things, some of these pieces of software are subscription based. So many of the tools that we use have some sort of fee associated with them, like the robot tool that I use for this. Costs $25 a month, I think, 21, 25. I forget what it is right now. But those add up, and one way to offset those is to do some amount of your time online focused on bringing income in. And there's so many ways to do it. I figured let's explore it again. Are we going to mention affiliate links? Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to drop the link in here again so everybody can kind of look ahead if you want. But essentially went to the robot and asked it something to the effect of, give me a comprehensive list of methods to earn money in 2024 featuring the most lucrative, or from the most lucrative, the easiest, and the most common. So that's a weird combo, right? Like that's not necessarily the best prompt or the best question to ask the robot, because there's other, I could have said, just give me the ways that make the most money. That would have been a different result, right? Just give me the stuff that's the easiest. That would have been a different result. And I'm not even sure if I had a good idea, if I did well by adding the most common, because if I would have left just those other two qualifiers in there, the most lucrative and the easiest, it might have come up with some off the wall or, what's the word, like non-mainstream things. And, well, whatever. We only have so much time. So I decided to go with that prompt. And we got a pretty good response from it. So that's what we're going to go with. So yeah, let's dive in, as the robots would say, and we'll be taking a look at e-commerce and drop shipping. And I could sit here for hours talking about literally any of these pieces. So I don't want to do that. I want to try to keep this about an hour. I'm going to be going on with Crump sometime today, I believe. And of course, Toby from Cape Gunworks has a show this afternoon that we attempt to help promote with this show. So I've been keeping an eye on that over here. I'll just do a quick refresh and see when he posts his show. It always sneaks up on me. I never can remember what time his show starts on Tuesday. And I have a giant package in the mail, I believe, today that I'm kind of eyeballing. So I'll be going over and getting something in the mail here before too long. But let's dig into it. We're going to talk about e-commerce and drop shipping in the first segment, then freelancing and gig economy in the next segment. We've got a third segment, content creation and monetization. Then we've got affiliate marketing, what Night Strike mentioned earlier. And then we've got online courses and digital projects. Now, there's a lot of other things. So I think, like I say, because I gave it the qualifiers of, where'd they go? I gave it the I gave it the qualifiers of most lucrative, easiest, and most common. So Night Strike asked about affiliate links. If you got something specific, I actually just got a really good tutorial, or what do you say, like mastermind course. I think that's what they call it, mastermind, like where you sit down and you talk with people who know what they're doing. I was able to do that the other day with some people that really know affiliate stuff. So, I mean, I've done affiliate stuff technically since like the early 2000s, probably 2004 or 5, but dabbled. And now I'm playing around with it a little bit more. So I do understand it to some extent. And now I have a better handle on how it is in 2024. Or how it's shaping up to be. Again, these things are all on trajectories. Anybody that tells you they know how it is just means that they know how it's been. And usually when people are selling you stuff like this, it's either stale or they're on their way out, like their strategy has stopped working and it's time for them to exit the community. So that's not our goal here. Our goal is to empower activists who are currently doing stuff to give them a little boost monetarily. So this isn't a get rich quick, and this isn't a quit your day job. This is just, hey, if you've got a couple hours a week, how can you best use that to bring in a couple of bucks each week so that you can get your other work done? All right. So again, with that caveat, we'll dig into e-commerce and drop shipping. Oh, I already went through them all. So let's dig into e-commerce and dropshipping. It says, learns the basics of e-commerce and setting up an online store, understand the dropshipping model and its pros and cons, hear success stories and get tips for finding a niche, marketing strategies, and managing suppliers. Unless somebody wants to come at me, I don't think these are easy or productive in 2024. It's possible if you wanted to do this for a living, that you essentially e-commerce is setting up a store. And drop shipping is, instead of having a product that you make or create, you source a product and then essentially order it every time somebody else orders it. So you become a middleman. So you find something for $1, you sell it for $4, somebody buys it off you for $4, you buy it for $1 and ship it to that person who bought it for $4. It's a way of doing things. It can be automated, but there's so many people doing it. I'm not going to go around acting like that's a super simple thing to do. Often you get yourself into this by owning things, like buying stuff and doing your own shipping because it's cheaper. Or you have to learn the ropes, and you do that inadvertently at some point. So it can be annoying at best and overwhelming, if not cost you money when you have to buy stuff. So that can be frustrating. The e-commerce part costs you money. You don't get stores for free. So buying a store is kind of mid-level or high-end at my experience or my opinion. So I don't really agree with this one. The robots may be struggling. Can't see the robot brain to see how many things they had in mind. Actually, we can when we get to the end of this, but yeah, I'm going to disagree with them on this one. Now, if somebody wants to come at me and talk about success stories with this, go for it, because there are definitely success stories, but definitely a lot of failures too. It's like restaurants. You don't hear about it. You don't remember the bad restaurants, but the good ones, yeah, you think, you remember those. You go eat at them all the time. So, I don't know, think about how many e-commerce or drop shipped items are in our community now. Are they winning? So we'll go on to freelancing and gig economy. In a more highly produced show, I would have played a commercial instead of just drinking in front of everybody. But, well, it's only 93 outside right now. But it is Arizona, and it's about to get super hot here, so I'm trying to drink. And when you talk in front of a microphone, it turns out you lose a lot of water out of your mouth. So freelancing and the gig economy. I think this one is, well, I'm going to put a lot of things under this, a lot of little side jobs and work that you can do. We'll be talking about a bunch of those towards the end of this one. Maybe the second half, because we're already into segment 2 here, and we'll go pretty quick. But I think this one has probably got the most potential. A couple years back, I was really struggling, and I started doing gig work, essentially, which is Just little tasks, essentially, stuff that might be you could say contracted work. So let's say that some insurance company needs pictures taken of a property. Back in the old days, I don't know what they did. They have their own photographers and put them on buses or planes or something and fly them around. Or maybe they contacted real estate agents thinking that they'd have photographers or something. But essentially now, if a real estate holding needs pictures of something, or somebody needs something done at a corporate level, they can put out the request to freelancing firms, let's say, that you can be part of. And if you're in the area, you can go make $20. I've done this so many times. Like, I think one time I'm trying to remember how much I made. Let's say I made $150 in a day by going around and going to, was it Family Dollar? It was either Family Dollar or Dollar General, one of those two stores, and taking pictures of their, am I allowed to talk about this? I think I am. I took pictures of their cell phone displays, and then I had to count the cell phones. So what would that take? However long it took me to say this is probably how long it took me to go in there and do it. And I had to do, did that with, I don't remember, 6 stores in Tucson or something. So I figured out it took me however many miles, portion of a tank of gas to go do this, and it took most of the morning to go do it one morning, but it was $150. And those kind of things can add up, especially if we're only talking about trying to get gas money to get somewhere, or make it a little easier to take a day off to go to that rally or something like that. So I think this one's probably got a lot of potential because it's so vast. We're going to talk about a lot of ones that you don't have to leave the house. You don't need a vehicle. You don't hardly even need to do much more than get online and speak English. And if you can't speak English, just doesn't matter. Speak whatever language and get paid to speak that language. Ghost is out there. Welcome. Working and joining us. That's one way to make side money, is to work, I guess. That's the hardest way to make money, is to have an actual job to work around, because then it's hard to do your content. The gig economy is essentially the same thing. Little side jobs or little temporary jobs. And I think what happened a lot too is when the whole bullshit happened for a couple of years there, a lot of people got accustomed to hiring people remotely, and people got accustomed to doing work remotely. And, we saw a shift in that dynamic, I guess. So then we'll get on to content creation and monetization. And that's definitely a thing. We talk about it. This is what this whole show is about. This media workshop has been about over the years, is to help people get this stuff down. The biggest thing here is do your content creation and monetize it away from guns. It's just very, very difficult in the gun realm to do anything. And there's some point maybe, but not when it comes to if you've got 8 hours a week to spend, or if you've got 18 hours a week to spend, why spend all of those doing the most difficult things possible to try to create money? If you need money and you have 18 hours or 8 hours, why not spend 2 hours or 5 hours with effective monetization, and then spend the rest of your time on your Second Amendment passion? So it's easier said than done, but I think trying to monetize your gun stuff is a futile effort. There is some ways to do it. Like I said, we've talked to some people just recently who are successful at that, but it's definitely a full-time thing. And if we're talking side stuff, you can spend much less time talking about clothes or food or travel items. There's so many things that you can talk about that aren't stigmatized in the social platforms that people spend way more money on. It's been a while since we've done it, but you can go to Google Trends, I think. Let's go find out. It's been a while since I've been there. Google Trends. And it's essentially a access to Google numbers, Google data, and you can ask it what people are searching for. So I'm going to type in here guns, right? Just a standard search term without any qualifiers. So it's probably pretty general. And this is interest over time and That's been in the past day. That's crazy. So let's change this from the past day to 2004 to now. So essentially all the time that Google's been paying attention. And we can see these spikes when the media infamizes a bad guy, a killer. But aside from the times when the media is making killers famous, I guess, then guns are essentially going down in interest. Interesting, right? So now we can compare guns with, I don't know, let's say Ford Mustangs, which is just a search term, I guess, not an actual car, because I think there's a difference if you choose the actual car. Well, it looks like guns are trending above Ford Mustang. So let's just say cars, since that's a more general thing. So if we look, excuse me, sorry about that. If we don't go to a specific car and we just go to the generality of cars, look how cars in red dwarfs guns in blue. Regardless of the peaks and interest and disinterest over the years, in general, there's been a decline in both popularity or both search. In the search of both of these, it's gone down a little bit, but cars in its lowest dwarfs guns in its highest. Like cars is just a lot more. And I'm sure if we put in food, come on, we eat every day. We barely drive cars. So where's food going to be on this? It's probably going to drive guns into the ground. Look at that. And you can see that it's trending. And that's what this whole thing is about. Google Trends is to see what people are looking at and how they're looking at it over time. So I think this helps prove my point that in general, guns are just not on people's radar. And they are technically dwindling even on the people's radar that they're on. But the only time they even come up is in times of division, when the anti-rights people are using murders to suggest that all gun owners are the fault. So it is working, which is frustrating. And that's why it's important that we have all hands on deck to push back and to help normalize guns, to make them at least give us back to where we were before, but make those peaks much less of an issue by removing the ignorance and stigma that guns have been given by the deliberate attempts of people who want to remove them. But again, I'm talking when we're kind of getting off topic here. When we're talking about content creation, monetization, imagine doing content about food, and imagine doing content about cars, and how much more productive or more potential you could have to monetize that content. And that's why I say you could spend a couple of days talking about, let's say, food, and then spend the rest of the week talking about guns, and you're almost positively going to make more money doing that strategy. So I think this has a point. And when we talk about ease and time, it's not the real potential. We've got a lot of people joining us, unusually more on YouTube. So that's good to see. We've got a lot of people over on the Twitter watching us, or the X. But I called them all out and said interact with the show, and I guess that made them all run away. So thanks to the people joining us today. Feel free to be part of this. It's not really a lecture. We just ask the robot for some guidance, and then we chat here. And the goal here is to answer questions and to make this a workshop. So this is just really the outline I'm kind of talking about here. So in addition to content creation and monetization, they do have affiliate marketing. And like I said, Night Strike asked about affiliate marketing and then booked out of here. But I'm not sure what he was questioning about, but it is a big one. Affiliate marketing is essentially getting a little cut of a sale. So reminding people about a sale, letting people know that a product exists. When a new product comes out, talking about it, chatting it up, doing reviews, comparing this and that, and then offering a link to go buy either one of them. From the manufacturer's point of view, you're going to spend money on advertising and marketing somewhere. So if it's going to cost you $1,000 to tell 1,000 people about something and 4 people buy one, but you can spend, $100 to have some guy talk about it or some lady talk about it in front of 40 buyers and 10 people buy one, there's just the return on the investment is massive, or the potential is at least. So affiliate marketing, or it's kind of micro advertising, or I think that's the way to say it, like individual advertising almost, is super effective, especially in 2024. Manufacturers almost, I would say, prefer it, but I'd say demand it. There's very few, I think, that have the money or interest to go with the giant marketing. Maybe some of the largest companies that are competing on some of the biggest platforms, but there's so many small companies out there that this is definitely a lucrative thing. And let's not forget that, again, in the gun realm, everything's stifled and everything's burdened. So some people can exploit that, and creators can exploit it and charge a lot for what they do, or charge more than necessary for what they do. And people can pay less because they know that there's nothing, that they're really just wasting their money potentially, or at least there's a real risk of losing money. So I think that this one has way more potential on the other side, doing binoculars and tents, car parts and food affiliate marketing versus gun stuff. So this one definitely has a lot of bang for its buck. A whole bunch of people are making good money on this one on all kinds of platforms. Again, getting back to that business model, if you're going to spend $1,000 to tell 1,000 people about something, and 4 people respond, you just spend $1,000. You're going to spend $250 per lead, right? And if it's not something people are going to come back and buy, if it's like a air fryer or something, hair dryer, people are going to probably just buy it once, then that's a lot of money. But if you can give $200 to have hairstylists talk about that hair dryer, and you sell 10 hair dryers, right? The money's just there. So that's that method. What am I trying to say? That mechanism is a good one. But I'll again say, flip it to the non-gun stuff and make your life a lot easier. And then you got online courses and digital products. I almost would have left this one out. The online courses is, I guess, because I asked the robot to give me lucrative, easy, and common. This is probably under lucrative and common. I don't think anything's easy. I mean, it always looks easy, but just from running gun channels for 7 years, I'm sure the online courses are a pain in the ass when you get to the part where people, when there's a lot of people involved. But they can be lucrative because you get 1,000 people giving you $5 a month, and that's $5,000 a month. That's pretty good. But managing it and stuff, I don't know. That's not a sideline. That seems more like a full-time gig, and you run the risk of really wasting everybody's time if you're not creating something that's moving the ball forward. We've got plenty of examples of people grinding resources and people's time and their ambitions and their drive just into the ground with poorly managed membership stuff or courses, I guess. And it's hard to say courses in the gun stuff. Now flip that over to whatever you do for a living. What do you do for a living? Are you a nurse? Are you a real estate agent? Are you a hairstylist? A golf enthusiast? Maybe you can create a course for that and put that out into the market. That's less and less expensive and potentially super lucrative. And now you're capitalizing on your strengths, on your experience, your time on the clock. Digital products is probably, again, I already said I could go an hour on any of these, and digital products has a lot of potential as well. And you can imagine I'm going to include print on demand into there real quick, as opposed to up a little bit further when we were talking about the stores. You could potentially say print on demand fits under drop shipping too, but wherever you're going to put it, or however you're going to include it, anything that is not created until the person orders it and then gets shipped in a timely manner, and you make a cut from the production of it, or from the creation of it, and then whoever produces it gets paid for the production of it, then I think that's about the coolest thing we've had going for us since, for a long time. That's one of the coolest things we've got. And that can be super vital if you think about all the books that have been created, children's books, being safe with guns, how to deal with guns as a kid growing up. Think about the mental health normalization and the suicide prevention stuff that has been able to be added to the mix from people who might have a specific awareness of a community or a culture or a point of view that is shared by just a few, and instead of being overlooked by publishing costs, the online print on demand is able to address that stuff. It's good and bad, but there's a lot of good potential there. So I think that you could potentially not just make some extra money here, but fund good work being done. And I've seen that over and over when you think about some of the people who have written books or created projects. We've done a couple with the patches. We had patches created, and that ended up being hopefully beneficial for the folks who got a bunch of free patches so that they could fund their projects and understand how, going back to the e-commerce, how the e-commerce stuff can work. All right, well, moving on, that's about halfway through, and we got to segment 5, so that's pretty good. Clover's out there. It says chase that money. Just make sure you catch it for sure. There's a lot of it out there, as everybody knows. This is a capitalist country, and pretty much everything we've got is designed for commerce, for the what am I trying to say? For for commerce, I guess I'll leave it at that. So additional options for making money online, and I wasn't satisfied with the pieces it gave us, and I didn't feel like trying to come up with a better prompt. I already came up with a couple of better prompts fiddled with the prompt to get it to where it came out with here. But so I told it to just list. What did I say? I said something like just list them. I don't want to try to turn it into all this. Just give me a list other options for making money online in 2024, including the average expected return on 10 hours spent. So let's take a look at this, and feel free with your to give me a feedback on if you think that the robot's on the right track with this. But no, it'll depend on, again, if you're thinking of any of these with a focus on guns, or if you think of any of these on a focus on something that isn't stifled by bad policy or unchallenged boilerplate policy. It's typically what it is. It's not like somebody sat down at any of these companies and said, you know what, I don't like these fine lines in the sand. They just sat down with some boilerplate policy that put guns and drugs and sex and violence all together in a pile with vices, and they just ran with it. And the better platforms have scrutinized that and started to dissect or change the line a little bit. And the bigger platforms either just don't pay attention to that stuff, or on the other hand, completely just ignore anybody's pleas. So anyway, I still think I'm going to look at all of these from the angle of non-gun related. So there's way more bang for your buck over there. Not just because there's less resistance from the platforms and the people, because there can be just people who are anti-gun. Let's say that somebody's got to verify your product, your content before it can go live, and you have anything that has to do with guns in there. Even if you just have a gun t-shirt on, then it's not I hate guns t-shirt. It's just some t-shirt. Well, what if the person who's watching that hates guns? It just becomes a thing. Like, don't even get near it if you're just trying to make money. And again, if you're trying to review a restaurant or some peanut butter or something, then I can see a valid point in wearing a gun-related shirt for that peanut butter review, normalize guns and whatnot. But if there's going to be an issue, then does that have to be the hill you get poor on? Let's put it that way. Can you make your money and then go have a well-funded discussion about the fact that they hindered your ability to make money? Anyhow, let's keep moving. So virtual assistants, Expect $100 to $300 per hour. So that's $1. No, 10. That's $1. No, $10 to $30 an hour. I think that's about right. For somebody in the United States, if you're buying a virtual assistant or you're paying for a virtual assistant, expect to pay a lot less than that. Expect to pay $100 to $300 per job, and that job might take way more hours than that. But in the United States, I think $10 to $30 an hour as a virtual assistant. And again, depending on your skill set, if you're a nurse, let's say, you go online and you find that you can do a gig for doctors, doing some kind of nurse work for doctors online. Well, you already know how to do that work, so you're probably going to be able to do it pretty easily without a lot of time spent looking stuff up or double checking or checking your work or any of that. And you'll probably make closer to the $30 an hour and spend less than 10 hours. So, that's, I think, why there's some wiggle space on here. If your gig is painting cars, then what if you went online and gave tips and advice to people who are painting cars and are just learning? That kind of stuff exists too. And again, you can love guns and what Second Amendment protects all day long. And, if you're painting cars for a living, go make money online talking about painting cars for a couple hours. You'll make a lot more money doing it that way in that couple hours than you will talking about guns for 8 hours. All right, so getting back to it, online tutoring, expected returns of $15 to $40 an hour. I think, again, that sounds probably about right. Depending on if you create a course or whatever, and then it gets more difficult to calculate how much you're making per hour, but it goes up a lot when you do the course once. And most online tutoring is creating some kind of tutorial. Hey, guess what we're doing here? Creating a tutorial, right? And then I'm not getting $15 to $40 an hour, I don't think, though. But, you do that course once, you present it once, and then essentially people are going to watch it. You might do like a half an hour of coaching after, or an hour of coaching as a group once a week or once a month or something. But that could be pretty lucrative. And again, if it's something you're familiar with, you were some kind of HR person at an office, and you do online tutoring for other HR people, that's how it works. Then we get into stock photography and videography. So if you've got a camera, I wish I had a camera. I've actually been invited. I get invited almost once a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending on the week, to do photography work. When I was doing that gig work I alluded to earlier, I had signed up to do some photography stuff, even though I don't have a camera, because I wanted to see how often I would get asked to do it. And like I say, it's sometimes 3 times a day. If I had a camera, I could easily be making more than this. Does it say $50 to $100? No, I can make way more money than that. So this is on stock photography. So let's say you've got a camera and you live somewhere, right? Go around and look at where you live. There's critters, there's nature, there's the businesses, there's the good communities, there's the growing communities, there's the strip centers, there's malls. All this stuff is photography or are photographs that real estate people need, that lawyers need, and other professionals need. And instead of them hiring somebody to go out with a camera, they'll look online, find your photo, and just pay you $10 for it. So that's how you get $50 to $150 an hour. Well, that's a pretty tough one to calculate, because you're just going to walk around with a camera and take pictures, randomly, or when they're targets of opportunity, and then you're going to put those in a system where, like I said, that system I'm in, I have a bunch of pictures in there, and based off those pictures, people bug me every day to come do work for them. Every once in a while, it's like, I think there were lawyers or accountants or somebody that wanted me to do headshots in their office for their website, probably, or something. And I just wasn't set up for that. I didn't have a camera, and would have needed a tripod, probably fancy lights. But you probably do 2 jobs like that, and you've paid for the camera, the fancy lights, the tripods, and then from then on, you're making money. If you live in a bigger city than Tucson, you probably make even more than that. Live in a smaller city than Tucson, then maybe that's not an option for you. Print on demand. It says expected returns $50 to $200 per 10 hours. That's a tough one. If somebody sat down I probably should have put in here, well, I couldn't have put in here per 2 hours, because in reality it takes probably dozens and dozens of hours on any of these things to kind of get started. Once you're up and running, though, once you've got your print on demand store figured out, and you figured out how to do your prices, and you figured out how to upload designs, and you figured out how to share those designs in a way that gets somebody to buy the design every once in a while, then you might get to where you're spending 10 hours and making $50 to $200. So essentially that's saying $5 to $20 an hour. Super hard to figure that out. I personally have never made any money on print on demand. I've always used print on demand to make things available that I couldn't afford. So, if you want a shirt that has your logo on it, you can either go out and buy 500 of those shirts and get them at a decent price, but you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars for those shirts. Then you have to put them somewhere and do something with them, be the person that ships them. Print on demand allows you to take the design that you want on that shirt, give it to a company to say, when somebody orders it, make it. And now you can have made 2 of them without costing you a dime. In fact, you probably made $10. But, if everybody was going to make money on print on demand, we'd all be making money on print on demand. There's quite a bit of effort there. And defaulting back to to the number of hours spent, I think that's almost getting back to full time. But again, if somebody wants to challenge that or throw some ideas on it about that, feel free. Social media management. Expected returns $15 to $40 per hour. So I think that one is probably realistic. It depends if you're working for a doctor or a pizza place, or somebody who's making $1 million a month on their YouTube channel. People. Well, you don't know people. You watch people that are making $1 million a month. You might know a couple of people making close to that, but you've seen people making that kind of money, and they'll hire people to do social media management. You don't get to $1 million a month clicking your own buttons. You get to $1 million a month figuring out a long time ago that somebody else has to click your buttons for you. In fact, most of those people, just like a singer, you really can't be a good singer without a manager who can make you a good singer, or that allows you to become a good singer. I think it's the same thing with content creators. The giant content creators have somebody behind them who does the work, make sure that they can afford to put the jello in the pool, or to put the smoke bomb up something's chimney, or whatever they're going to do, and pay for it at the end. And you just need a dumb kid to be a dumb kid. Otherwise they lose that allure to the other dumbass kids out there, right? So social media management, I think that's probably, I don't know. I personally have never attempted. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. I probably have worked on people's social media inadvertently. I've never put my shingle out there to do it necessarily. At least nobody's ever taken me up on it. So I've personally never done it. But again, you don't need to have run 100,000 channel or 100,000 subscriber channel to understand how to help someone run a 100,000 subscriber channel. For that one, you're probably best bet to be honest and dependable, consistent, because nobody's going to want to hand over the keys to it's essentially the keys to their building to somebody who's not consistent. So now we get to app and website testing. So this is definitely outside the realm of gun stuff. And this is a pretty lucrative one. I didn't go on this route because it just took too much time, and I've got too many things I'm juggling. But if you are looking for something you can make money on it, but you're going to need to spend some time. There's a couple of the other ones we'll talk about here that are the same way. They're not quite full-time gigs, but if you're doing a full-time gig and you're trying to do your Second Amendment advocacy and you're looking for a way to help pay for that Second Amendment advocacy, this might not be a great match because it's going to take quite a bit of time. Now, if you got really good at it, and I want to suggest somebody who's a tech person can't do this, because a tech person can do this probably 10x faster than somebody who doesn't get around on the internet very fast. But essentially, it's just beta testing for money. And anybody who's building an app needs other people to look at it. Somebody who doesn't have their understanding of the navigation or whatever, the design and what. And if you're good at scrutinizing and being precise on what you found, you can get that $12 an hour way higher. Like people that once you become established at being a good Q&A, quality assurance person for tech, you're gold. And once you've proven that you can understand the task and give them the response they're looking for, accurate responses that they're looking for, you're gold. And the more you do it, the more you'll understand it. It's super technical. You have to be able to turn that stuff on and off, or be really interested in the boring technical aspects of things. But anyway, that can be a really, really lucrative one. In fact, I think I made the most money in my life doing that work a long time ago. But it's definitely a gig if somebody wants to do it. Next one is online surveys and market research. That one I haven't done before, but I've known people that have done it, and it's the same thing. It can be a little time consuming because you'll get paid so little per survey or whatever. But if you sit down for 5 hours and do half-hour surveys for a while, and that can turn into money, especially if you're just trying to get gas money. And that's something that can be done, I don't know, while you're watching a kid sleep maybe, or watching a puppy do their thing. Like, it can be done while you're attending something else. Now, you're not going to be present while you're doing the other thing because you're working on this, but often it can be done while you're in the presence. If everybody else is watching TV, you could be doing your online survey there, as long as it's not a timed thing. Anyway, figure out what works for you. Find them. There's lots of online survey places out there. The next one that came up, there's DJ saying, hey, the next one is cryptocurrency trading and investing. I don't know why I put that in there. That's might as well say the next one is online stock trading. Yeah, whatever. That's like saying betting on races. So there's probably people that'll disagree and say that there's mechanisms that are undisputable, that the people's trends and tendencies are manageable, or what's the word, like understandable, and that you can invest with that and probably make enough money to make it worth your while. Good. I would like to be able to figure that out. It says $0 to $1,000 per 10 hours. I think that's highly variable part matters. I don't know how much of it is luck and how much of it is timing, but I know from sitting next to people who've done day trading that you have to be at a different level when you can go, oh crap, I just lost 60 grand. Oh good, I made 100,000. Oh shit, I lost 200,000. I've been sitting next to a person at a job, and that's what they were doing. So they do play around with a lot of money, but they play around with a lot of money. So you have to have money to play with. Let's see, remote customer service, expected returns $10 to $25 an hour. So I think that's just answering phones for companies that would like you to be in English. It's going to take some awareness of their system. So depending on what kind of customer service you're going to do, you're going to have to learn that system. But that can be useful. We had actually, now I think about it, we did something very similar to this. I guess you could call it this for a number of years for a hotel, actually a number of hotels, eventually hotels in like 3 different states. And we would we had an 800 number that would point to actually the 800 number would route to our phones, and we would just take turns. 3 of us would, have a schedule, and we could just all answer the calls in our sleep because we knew the 3 or 4 questions people were calling with. And it was extra money every month. I forget what we were making from it, but it was decent money. It was hundreds of bucks a month for each of us to essentially be on call 24/7. And for us, that just meant having a phone in our pocket that our normal phone. It's just that we would get a, caller ID that would be our 800 number telling us one of the hotels was calling. And we would just turn off the radio or something and say, hey, how can I help you? Yep, turn that off, restart it. It's one of those typical kind of things, like turn it off, turn it back on again. Oh, it works. Great. Thanks for calling. Have a great night. And keep everybody happy, and money keeps coming in. That's a good one. I'm assuming that's even better than it was before with so many small businesses out there that don't have the ability to work 24/7. Transcription services. I guess that kind of goes along with voice acting and translation. So when you think about, I don't have any skills, like what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you speak, right? You can speak and you can understand. I mean, obviously not everybody's the same, but and most everybody can do those 2 things. So that means you can transcribe, and guess what? You can do that with your phone. So it's kind of a scam that you can get paid to listen to something and write it down. And there's software that will listen to stuff and write it down. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you get paid to say that they're watching a robot and verify that a robot did it right. $5 to $15 an hour. I'd say you probably make more than that, depending on which service you're working with. But lots of places need their stuff typed out, and you can just monitor robots doing that often. Voice acting, go over to Fiverr and put your thing out there. It doesn't really matter what your voice is like, because often somebody who's creating content wants something that's a human, wants something spoken with, human connotation or words or whatever that's called, emotion. And they don't always just want, I don't know, like voice is a voice, right? So some people just want a female voice, a old person voice, a happy voice, something like that. Some people do want crazy, weird, sounding voices, but often people just want a voice that isn't theirs. So definitely money to be made there. $10 to $30 an hour, maybe, but very often on. And I can't imagine too many of those inflection. Yeah, thanks. That's the right word. I can't imagine that. Well, I couldn't say that. There probably are ways to turn that into a full-time gig, which means there's probably ways to keep a pretty consistent flow of customers coming in. Then you get to online consulting, $20 to $50 an hour. I don't know about all that. Depends on what you're consulting, I guess. If you're consulting air conditioning, I don't know, what did you do for a living? Are you retired? Are you just starting out? Maybe if you're just starting out, that'll be a little bit tougher, but I bet you if you're just starting out, you've been to school before. Could you consult kids that are going to school? What have you been doing for more than a year or two? Could you consult somebody who's a novice on that? If it's playing guitar, or if it's typing, or if it's something else. So I think online consulting is, you have to be a bit of a go-getter. I don't know of any places that you can just go and say, hey, I'm good at this, and then people show up and pay you. There might be. I haven't looked at it enough. But often just putting out your intent can find some people, and then that can lead to more and more. So that was a bit of a entrepreneurial one, but definitely worth it, because everybody has something that they can consult on, something that they're more familiar with than others, because you've done something more than other people have. And it should say that you've done something enough that you can offer assistance, and somebody out there might never need to do it again. Like maybe it's mowing the lawn, and they don't have a lawn, but they're at their friend's house because of some reason, and they need to mow the lawn once. And maybe you've mowed the lawn your whole life, and they figure out a way to pay you $20 to give them a rundown on how to mow the lawn. It's not inconceivable. So, do you put an ad on eBay or whatever? I don't know. But like I said, it's a little tough to get connected. But once you do, you become an expert in your field, and someone people come to for advice. And then we got remote technical support. I don't know. I kind of call that the same as some of the, what was it back here? The online, where'd it go? Customer service. Essentially, it's technical support and customer service. We're pretty close to the same thing. Of course, technical support requires a little bit more knowledge of the systems being used. But, what is it that you do for a living? Are you an AC tech? Are you a car tech? Do you work on trucks or something? You can probably find somebody that can, that you can do support for with those skills. Now, again, I'm definitely focused on the non-gun related stuff, because I think there's just so much more room to make money out there. Well, we're right about an hour, and like I said, I've got a bunch of other stuff going on today. So since there's nobody actually asking questions, I think I'll wrap it up. I feel like this one could have had a lot of tangents, a lot of side discussions, and again, I'm not here to try to sell you a Get Rich Quick course, but we are capitalists, and in 2024 there's definitely, I don't want to say most commerce is done online, but there's a lot of commerce being done online, And our skills are often taken for granted or overlooked by our biggest critics, ourselves. And when you're looking around going, man, I wish I could, or if I only, there's often ways available, kind of like finding coins in the cushions, right? Like there's often money right there. You just have to kind of reach around and find it. And if you can, if this was helpful, the inspirational to figure out a way to, I don't know, help you generate enough funds to get to the next thing or to do the next thing you wanted to do, then that was the goal. And if you're an activist and you're frustrated and you're wondering how you're going to be able to continue to do this, I definitely know what that's like. There are, lots and lots and lots of things, and you are allowed to kind of adjust your volumes and your gauges on your equalizer there and tone down your activism and tune up your fundraising and tune down your gun related stuff, tune up your other stuff when necessary. Probably some advice I can give to people who might have listened all the way to the end is attempt to tune that stuff so that you're not either burning money or burning or it's just making money, because you're probably not helping nothing if you're making money. You're probably not helping nothing burning money. Probably somewhere in the middle is the best way to keep things going for a long time, or the longest time. All right, at this point, we'll end it. Most people listening are going to be listening as a podcast. On these always get the weekly wrap-ups, get a lot of views, a lot of listens. So feel free to leave us some comments. We can address them in, I guess it would be future workshops for us now, today on the Tuesday. But for you in, I guess it would be future ones for you too. But anyway, we are able to incorporate, we do see the feedback that comes in. So feel free to give us some insight on these and the directions you might want to see us take the workshops. Otherwise, we'll say thanks again for joining us. And those that were joining us live, we'll say thanks to our Patreons, which make it possible for us to spend the time like this each week on the workshops and the wrap up and some of the other projects that we work on a regular basis. And I was just checking out to see if Cape Gunworks is ready to go. I don't know if he said he was doing the show today or not. I'm going to jump over and see if there was something else, if Crump has something going yet. Or was I going to check his? He was talking to me on the Instagrams. Okay, so I'll be on looks like at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 p.m. for me. So we'll be back in a few hours on Crump Show. And whenever we get a link to that, we'll throw it up here. DJ's throwing up the link to our Patreon. Thanks for that. And again, I was saying thanks to our Patrons for making it possible for us to spend the time on this one. We just were playing around with the servers and stuff yesterday. So always appreciate it when we're able to do that, because the servers cost a little bit of money and the Patrons cover that. So thank you very much for that. We will wrap this one up with a mention of the Gizzard Show on Fridays.
This is Earl Benson reporting from downtown Topeka, where Gizzard Gary is rampaging through the city. Authorities have asked the public to stay indoors. They believe he will tire soon and need a nap. Gizzard Gary can normally be seen on Foul Territory Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central. Wednesday, 8 p.m. for the channel members chat. Stay safe and give him the bird. Earl Benson signing off.
Captain, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at PureWebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed.
Place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us, and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at gearwebsites.com.